Hey, parents. Before we start today's episode, I have exciting news. We are hosting a podcast pop up where you can interact with the resources and guests featured here in real life. It's called Podcast Palooza. There will be a live animal presentation by Animal Tales, and BAM Snowballs will be serving up their famous snow cones. Of course, yours truly will be there conducting mini interviews, plus one lucky guest will win a $250 Amazon gift card. Mark your calendar for Saturday, March 2nd, 2024, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Washington High School. We'll see you there.
Tapping into some emotions that aren't your own, playing a character, playing someone else is just kind of can be freeing. But then also they get to explore things about themselves and express themselves that they couldn't express it unless they're doing an art form like theater.
Welcome to the Voices United in Education podcast. Each week, we showcase the teachers, administrators, and community members who go the extra mile to contribute to the success of every student in Escambia County. You'll meet the real people behind the titles and learn about the amazing resources to support every student's success. It's said that the after-school hours of 3 to 6 p.m. are prime time for risky youth behavior. But as a working parent, your options can feel limited. My next guest is helping head up a program that not only facilitates a safe space, but an atmosphere that enhances school performance. It's Pensacola Little Theatre's new program, Character Building Through Building Character, a 3-hour after-school theater and reading program that brings literature and school to life. Today, she's going to share what makes the program special for the kids, to her, and the community. Celebrating academics and the arts, performing and promoting, Community Outreach Director Kimberly Scott. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
This is such a unique program, and it's also a really unique job that seems to be at the perfect intersection between your interest in both English and theater. And you shared with me that before taking this position, you were firmly in the role of stay-at-home mom, unless the perfect, absolutely perfect role came along. So what's so special about this program to you?
I mean, everything about this whole situation is just so exciting because some people get to say they do their dream job, but I feel like this was better than anything I could have dreamed or come up with. And it's just the perfect intersection of my love of education, my love of community, and just being that positive role model to kids. And the fact that all of that is wrapped into one is just so, it's honestly thrilling and exciting. And I feel like those are buzzwords, but that's how I actually feel. It's exciting.
Do you feel the theater aspect of it brings something special that it wouldn't otherwise have?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, theater, for me, growing up, I was always having little behavior issues, wanting to express myself. And there was just different opportunities where I was able to do that through theater. And then when I was going to college, I was thinking maybe I can do that for other students. And I see them have these different emotions and expressions, and I'm able to guide them into using it for art and theater. And just theater is just such a great way to bring healing. And I'm just excited to be able to offer that to the Escambia County students.
I don't think I'd ever considered theater as a part of the developmental process. That's really interesting that you point that out.
I just think that there's so many layers to theater and what that really means and how you're able to help students through it. Not every student is going to do a whole Broadway show every single time, but they maybe do a monologue or do a little bit of a dance, just ways to help them get through some of the things that they're going through.
Yeah, you said it can be healing. Well, how is it healing?
One way I think it can be healing is just kind of tapping into some emotions that aren't your own, playing a character, playing someone else is just kind of can be freeing. But then also they get to explore things about themselves and express themselves that they couldn't express it unless they're doing an art form like theater. So I think that could be really I'm trying to think of an example for, students especially who are just wanting to have fun in class or sing and dance, or like, cause I was a teacher in the classroom, like traditional classroom for a while. And I had students who were like every 5 seconds they're singing or banging their desk like a drum. Or I had a student literally, do a backflip like out of nowhere. And I'm like, how can I get this energy and lead it to be something proactive for the healing? Just showing them that, I guess, how they're acting, what they're doing isn't wrong, but let me try to find an avenue for you to do it in a safe and effective way.
Yeah. Kids need an outlet to express themselves, not just for their energy, but you said sometimes pretending to be somebody else can be freeing.
Yeah.
And what I was hearing you say is sometimes it can be a break. It can be like a respite from maybe whatever their reality is at home to pretend to be somebody else. Is that overreaching?
No, that's part of it for sure. I think like taking a break from every day and let's pretend that we're doing an improv. Sometimes we'll do like an improv game or something. We're pretend like we're riding a roller coaster, just something like just kind of take a break.
Yeah.
Express yourself.
I think theater might be seen as organized play or organized chaos, depending on the day. But it's not something people equate with like academic or behavior enhancement, like you're talking about. And I know this program is new, but what kinds of impact have you witnessed so far in the kids? Can you give any examples?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most exciting parts has been that we've been able to do these fun theater things, but really just have this academic focus. And I've partnered with the Escambia County teachers and they've given me their curriculum. And so we're reading what they're reading in class. We're reading extra. We're doing extra reading comprehension exercises and writing exercises and journal exercises. And I've had the students report back to me and say, Miss Kim, thank you so much for going over that story. We had a quiz. I got a 100. I haven't got a 100 on a quiz in forever. And just, getting students excited about reading again by acting out some of those stories they're doing in class, bringing it to life. So it's been really, really fun.
Okay, so teachers are actually giving you what they're working on. Can you give an example of that? And you're then you're creating plays out of them?
Yeah, so we get the curriculum from the school, like they give us the literature book. And so one activity we do, so we'll be reading, I'm trying to think of a name. It was like a story about a guy who was a jazz instrumentalist. And so we tell him okay, act that out. What would that look like? And then one of the stories that a lot of the elementary students read throughout the years is Aesop Fables. So we put on Aesop's Fables, the costumes and everything as their final show. And it just brought a story that might be kind of not that exciting. Well, I mean, it's exciting, but just bring a new level of excitement to it. And with this session right now, we're reading Percy Jackson, the entire novel, and, doing some scenes from that. So,
oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah.
Isn't there some studies that show that when you have physical activity after learning, it makes it stick or so? I think I read that as a college advice to survive your college courses is study and then take a walk. If that's true, this would be even more enhancing because you're studying while physically acting it out, I would imagine.
Yeah, that. And then there's studies too about reading things aloud, reading aloud to students, even up through 12th graders, can be life-changing for their reading comprehension and literacy skills. So it's been awesome.
So what's any given day look like? They are at school and then they get transportation to the theater?
Yeah, so I meet them at school, meet them in the lobby. Then we have transportation. We all ride together, and that's fun too. A lot of times we start the singing and playing and all that already starts on the bus, especially with elementary students. Then we get to the theater, and I've got helpers there. I've got a couple assistants. And then what we're really excited to provide is, food for the students. At first, I was I didn't, wasn't exactly sure how hungry they may be, but we're able to, provide a nice meal for the students. I mean, peanut butter and jelly, chips, and a drink, get them settled. And I do a thing I call check-in. And we're all sitting, we got these nice beanbag chairs. I check in with the kids and I ask them, how was school today? What's your test like? Do you need help with any schoolwork? Let's take it out during snack if you need help with anything. And then after that, we get right into some warm-ups, which are really fun. And then we get into some theater games, reading, and then we do more of a rehearsal after that, focusing on what we want to present to their parents and teachers at the end of our 6 weeks.
How many presentations are there a year?
Right now, I'm not exactly sure how many we'll end up with right now, but our second one will be coming up January 10th is going to be our next performance. And then we'll have another session in February and another, special spring break camp thing and some summer camp. So I'm not exactly sure how many we'll end up having at the end of it, but we're excited for our second one.
Well, you're still kind of creating it, I imagine, since it is a newer program.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how many hours is it after school?
Ends up being 3 hours.
And who's eligible to participate?
So for the spring break camp, it's really focused on 4th through 8th grade for all of the Escambia County students. And then we really are focusing on that 4th through 8th grade range right now. Yeah.
Okay. So is that a requirement that the child needs to be within that age range?
So 4th through 8th is our focus, but we've done a few things for people who have like siblings. So we do have some like younger ones.
Oh, that's super
So
cute.
our focus is 4th through 8th, but we've got a couple of 3rd graders and stuff like that are siblings, which is really cute.
That is
to see them perform with their siblings.
Yeah. So you said you meet them at the school.
Mm-hmm.
What schools participate?
So our first school was Global Learning Academy. So we picked them up. And then now we're working with Dixon School of the Arts. And then we're finalizing things for our February school. And then for spring, we're going to invite like all of any Escambia County students 4th through 8th that want to come.
For the spring break.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you are rotating schools.
Mm-hmm.
Am I understanding that right?
Yeah. So that way we can just zero in, especially with the transportation, and focus on helping these specific students for 6 weeks, twice a week for a little over 3 hours a day. And then after the 6 weeks, we do the presentation and then we, go to the next school and then go to the next school. So
how many kids are allowed per session? Do you have a cap?
We do about 20 would be probably our cap, but for spring break, we'll be able to offer some different things because we'll have some additional staff from, since teachers will be on spring break also. So we're going to have a little extra help. So.
Have you found that the participation has gained any traction from the schools that you've cycled through the 6 weeks and then moved on to the next? Is the word getting out, or is that something that the listener could help you with?
Definitely word of mouth is what helps this, because at first we'll start with, the first week, we maybe not have as many, but I tell students, you can bring your friend and stuff, and then we grow and grow and grow. So I just want everyone to know that we want your students to come and experience this and learn from us and see the power of theater. And you'd be excited to have your students.
Do you see that any of the students that you've had so far this year may have a future in theater?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I always think about this. One day, I always tell myself, I'm like, I don't know which one of the, who's Chadwick Boseman? I don't know who's the next celebrity. I mean, I don't know. I think if you think your mindset like that, like I think there's one teacher, like he wrote a book and he was like, there's a kid out there in America who's going to be like the next president or the next, I don't know, the next big thing. And so you need to treat every single student like they are like that. Like that you are teaching the president. I am teaching, the next famous actor. So I need to treat them that way and give them all my energy and talents. But yeah, I think a lot of them, especially this session, I have kids who are like, they're also really good at instruments and very musical this session. And he like brought his viola to class and was like playing songs. So I see a lot of potential in all of them. Every single one of them, I think, is the next big thing. But yeah,
what kind of teacher would you be if you didn't see potential in all of them?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, because I think growing up, I saw some teachers, like if the kid made straight A's, they're just, loving them and staring at them, like giving them all this attention. So I treat them all like, the next big thing, because they are. So.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. And I hear so many like actors, they'll be like on a podcast like this or something, and they'll be like, how'd you know you want to be an actor? And they'll say, I had one teacher who just like really believed in me. And I want like all the kids to look back and be like, yeah, that was Miss Kim. That, like one day, like I literally, and I do a thing where like I'll be teaching something else and I'll tell them, pause everything. I want you to know that I believe in you. Like, I know it sounds so cheesy, but like, I do. I believe that they could be whatever they want to be. And I want them to know it.
Why do you think it's important for them to see you as a Black woman in the theater space?
I mean, I think it is just so important because when you see someone doing something that looks like you, then it can connect with you that is something that you can do. And growing up, I just didn't have that as far as seeing like a theater person or even teachers even. I didn't have a lot of Black teachers. And I want these students to know that not only like you can be like Miss Kim one day, but you can be, better than Miss Kim, or you can be different than Miss Kim. But just seeing a successful Black woman, and then that's why I'm intentional with who I have on staff with me. I have another Black male teacher who assists me so that these, young men that I have in my class, they know, it's okay to, do theater and sing and dance. And it's something that Black men do. And I just see them look up to him so much and be inspired by him. Because there's, like, of course, I want to be every kid's favorite and reach out to everyone. But sometimes, the boys, really respond well to having a male teacher. And that's just been so good for them, for sure.
Do y'all ever talk about that? Do they ever talk about what it means to them to see a Black man in the theater space and how it might change their perspective of what they thought before versus now?
Yeah, I think I see it, honestly, more through their actions. Like, they just respond so much to him. But I don't think I've had them specifically say anything about it. But I think they just instead of it just being me getting up there dancing, saying, follow me. If, you're seeing him play guitar and dance, they feel like, oh, he's doing it. I can do it too. So that's what I've really noticed. And just, if something happens and he misses a day, they're like, oh, where is he? Like, they just respond really well to him. And yeah.
So when you say how they act is how you notice it, you mean their participation?
Mm-hmm. Like just their, willingness to be involved and participation, and just, if we're splitting into groups or they're wanting to be with him and he's leading them, and that's really great.
And if you could fast forward, we'll say like 5 years from now, which doesn't sound like a lot when you're a grown up, right? We're like, what's 5 years? But 5 years in the life of a child, a 10-year-old is 15, a 15-year-old's 20. Yeah. And so if you could fast forward 5 years from now and this program is still thriving, what would that look like to you?
I mean, just filled to like so many students we don't know what to do with. I just hope we have so many students. And what I'd really love to see is some of, I guess they would be called alumni, but some of those students I taught come back and be leaders or interns for me, just continuing to guide those students and have them become leaders. I think that would be amazing. And just being, really well known in the community as a good program. And I think we're getting there and working on it. And I think in 5 years, it'll be a known program and be so full. And what else will we have? Like just doing, probably even bigger shows and stuff like that.
Like it would be the IT program to be involved in.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely just expanding, working with more age groups, because right now we got that focus on 4th through 8th grade, and just helping high schoolers be leaders, and maybe doing some things like still have kids come to the building, but maybe I can do some things going into the schools and stuff like that.
Oh, that would be exciting. Is there a specific enrollment period that parents need to keep an eye out for?
I would definitely keep an eye out for our spring break coming up. So that's open now. As long as you email outreach@PensacolaLittleTheatre.com, I can get your students signed up. And then everything else, like when we're in our 6-week session, if we're at your student's school, which our next session should be Ferry Pass Elementary in February, we do an ongoing like enrollment. So if your student doesn't come to the first session, they can come to the second one. They can come to the third. So we just do like a rolling enrollment for that. So
yeah, because this might not air, in January or February from the time that we're recording now in December. Where can people find information about whatever's next? Is there a certain hub that they go to?
If you go to PensacolaLittleTheatre.com, and the education section has information about all of our activities in this program. And email me anytime, outreach@PensacolaLittleTheatre.com. We're going to have summer camps, and our programs are free. And that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really big for us and different. And the summer camp is probably going to be, even more creative than the other stuff. We're going to have some student writing their scripts and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. This is very cool. I can't wait to see where it does end up in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's exciting. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and share. Voices United in Education is a production of Escambia County Public Schools.